Hi, and welcome to Conduct Her, where we are two sisters on a mission to amplify women's voices on the podium.
Join us as we interview leaders in the field of choral music, share resources, and build a community for current and future teacher conductors, all while exploring the gender divide. I'm Kira Starr.
And I'm McKenna Stenson, and we are
Conduct Her. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conduct Her. We are so excited to have Jonathan Martin, the winner of our Composer Contest from Season 3, on with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited.
We're really excited to have Jonathan with us today. And before I say a little bit about his professional background, I also want to preface that I had the pleasure of getting to teach Jonathan when he was in high school for a couple years at Colgan High School. So this is just really cool. And I'm so excited to be interviewing you today. So we're going to talk a little bit about you, Jonathan. Jonathan Martin is a junior music major at Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia. He is double majoring in choral music education and piano performance and plans to take a fifth year to receive his Master's of Arts in Teaching via CNU's MAT program.
At CNU, he is the president-elect of the American Choral Directors Association, as well as a member of the National Association for Music Education. As of this year, he is also an active member of the Society of Composers Incorporated, SCI. Outside of music, he is the vice president of education and development for Pi Lambda Phi, a fraternity dedicated to the elimination of prejudice.
Compositionally, his experience includes collaborating with another composer to write music for a high school's performance of She Kills Monsters in November 2022, scoring a friend's short film this past summer, and various solo and collaborative releases over the past year. He looks forward to all future opportunities to create and share music. Welcome again, Jonathan. We are so excited to have you, and we are going to dive in with some questions for you. So Kira, why don't you take it away with question one?
All right. Jonathan, would you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you came to choral music?
Starting definitely as early as I can remember. I always did singing at church. I went to like a pretty small church, so it was always either small little group choir, quote unquote choir things with like 4 kids, stuff like that. And then in 4th grade, I joined choir at my school, and then haven't stopped doing choir since then in school. And now, I'm a junior in college and I'm still in 2 choirs and stuff. But through middle school, I had an amazing teacher, Mr. Kierstead. And then in high school, I had Miss Stenson for the 3 years that I was in person there due to COVID. But those were also great years. And and now I'm at CNU and I absolutely love choir here. I'm in both the University Chorale, which is like the bigger group that is a little more open to like non-music majors and everybody on campus, and then in chamber choir, which is the slightly more select group, I think with 16 of us. And it's a great time. I'm also the ensemble manager for University Chorale, so that's a position where I just kind of help Dr. Irving, who's the conductor, with various things throughout the semester.
Wow, Jonathan, you're doing all the things. It's giving me flashbacks to my own undergrad experience where you're like, and we're just going to be doing everything at once and just flying alongside the plane, sometimes not even in it. So
right.
Hats off to you.
Yeah, it works out.
It works out. Well, that's incredible. And we relate deeply to starting music from a young age. And we're so glad that you had those young choral experiences that taught you how to be a leader in a number of settings. And clearly it's paid off and it's still working out. So congratulations.
I'm really excited about the next question because I knew the moment that it was really cool. Thinking back about Jonathan over the past couple of days, I can pinpoint the exact moment when I think I knew you were going to be a music major, and I'm curious to know if our thoughts align. So I'll share mine after you share yours. But what event or events were inspirational for you to choose music as your career and not just a hobby?
Well, one event I can definitely think of that pertains to at least wanting to pursue choir throughout the rest of my life was performing at VMEA as a sophomore at Colgan. I was about to say at CNU, but at Colgan. That was a really great experience, like having all the after school rehearsals and really being pushed is definitely an opportunity that I know not all high schoolers can relate to. So being able to have that opportunity to like work really hard for a really big goal was awesome.
I wondered if you'd talk about VMEA because that was huge. And Jonathan had a solo in the start of one of our, I mean, it was just so good. But there was a moment, it was after VMEA, we did a project at Colgan where I used to teach where students led warm-ups. And I don't know if you remember this, but each student got to sign up for like a different type of warm up. Like some people were more comfortable doing like a physical warm up. Some people led like a Just Dance video. And you led us through a warm up where you built up a 4-part song. And we did some improvisation. And I don't know if you recall this, but this video pops up on my social media every year as a memory. And it was just such a really cool moment to see you leading a group of people in a uniquely you musical experience. And I was like, this is going to be a fantastic future music educator. So just wanted to let you know that I had that moment and was thinking about you.
Well, yeah, I do remember that moment. Yeah, and I think I know what video you're talking about too. I do remember that.
Yeah, I think Kira and I just get really excited when, like you can see people stepping into their light and it's just really cool.
And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
This season, we are featuring a fierce lineup of women composers found in the Music Spoke marketplace. At Music Spoke, composers receive the majority of the proceeds from sales, retain control over their own works, and all scores are available immediately as digital downloads. At Music Spoke, they do not simply publish pieces of music. They find composers and give them the tools and freedom to promote themselves.
You just heard Strengthened for Service by Jessica French. Check out her works today on musicspoke.com and conducther.com/sponsors.
Hello, this is Sandra Snow, Director of Choral Programs at Michigan State University and Artistic Director of Mirabai. Mirabai is partnering with the Denver Women's Chorus to present Storytellers, a workshop unlike any conference you've been to. For the first time, leaders in choral music education will partner with members of GALA, the Gay and Lesbian Association of Choruses, to bring a workshop that blends the experiences of musical activists and classroom trailblazers. The Storytellers Conference is designed to improve your rehearsal and ensemble leadership through sessions that promote inclusive pedagogy, cultural responsiveness, and a new lens through which to view the conductor's role. Featured guests will include composer and singer Moira Smiley, and all attendees will be able to see Mirabai in concert. Session presenters will include collegiate educators from across the country and Gala chorus leaders who are working as community activists. When we come together to listen to one another's stories, we all grow. Storytellers. Listen, connect, expand. To register, see storytellersdenver.org.
And we're back.
I love that you guys have that shared memory together and that McKenna was able to be like, I think I know when this happened. And you were like, it happened to be a VMEA with Miss Denson. That's amazing. You already mentioned like Philip Kiersted, who was your middle school director, who we know is a great educator. Who and or what was influential or helpful in your journey to get to this point?
So also at Colgan was Mr. Mills, Mr. John Mills, who I actually got an opportunity to talk to pretty recently because one of the grad courses at CNU is looking at like the way he teaches his class, or he taught his class at Colgan, because it was so like forward thinking and new ways to involve different fields of people in music. But taking music tech with him through my junior year and senior year, so even when it went online, was just like an amazing way to keep me involved in music and approaching it from whatever way I wanted to. So I really just admire and look up to him because I feel like he has a really good relationship and a really unique relationship with all his students, and pushes people to like approach music and think about it however they want to, and to problem solve like that. And then also, I mean, no bias here, but Miss McKenna Stinson definitely was a big influence on me going into music, because just having a like really solid choir program to build off of what I had in middle school definitely kept me really interested in music and kept me kind of pushing and pursuing that goal. So yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm not crying. It's fine. Everything's fine. Really, really cool to just get to catch up and hear about what you've been doing and a little bit about sort of what's inspired you to this point. And we're going to dive into a little bit about the reason we are here, which is that you were selected this year for our season 3 intro and outro music, which is really, really exciting for us. We got to listen to a lot of great submissions, and we think that what you came up with really just fits the bill and sort of is the perfect intro to a lot of wonderful guests that we are premiering this season. And so we want to know what inspired the theme song for Conductor and what drew you to submit.
A funny thing is I saw in terms of, I'll answer the second part of that question first, the what drew me to submit. I saw the like post for composer competition last year before season 2, I guess. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I should do that. And then I just didn't. And the time frame came and went, classic. But this year when I saw it, I was like, okay, all right, I'm actually going to do that. And so I saw it and I kind of just went up to my room and like just started kind of noodling around with little chord progression type thing. I don't have my piano set up right next to me. I told I would just like play it right now, but it's kind of just like some 2-5-1s, and then just kind of going through a little circular chord progression that's kind of groovy. And then I was looking for just some nice sound, like not too harsh, but chill, like electronic sounds, I guess, because that felt kind of podcasty to me, and practiced like just making up a podcast intro over it, like just talking and acting like I was on a podcast and seeing how that sounded, with that music playing. And it felt like it fit. So that's really all there was. That's it.
That's amazing. I love that you practice speaking on top of it. I mean, that's so... you're probably like, oh, well, that just makes sense to do that because that's the purpose of this. But I think a lot of people who submit are thinking a lot about the music, and that's such an important part of it. But you also have to correspond with what's going to happen on top of it and think about how this is going to fit in. And I love that you said the word groovy, because that's definitely, I feel like McKenna and I listened to it and we were like, yes, like this is a vibe. It's a whole, like, it's an experience that draws you in and at the same time allows the listener to pay attention to the introduction. And so I think you balanced the, the feeling of coolness and also the like wanting people to come in and listen. And that came through pretty much immediately. So we really love what you came up with. All right, Jonathan, now that we've learned a little bit about what you composed for us, and I love that also you just took it by the horns this year and were like, hey, I remember this from last year and I'm going to go up to the piano right now and I'm going to come up with something and just see what happens. And what a great lesson that is for everybody out there.
And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Hello, everyone. Jocelyn Hagan here. I just wanted to let you know that the Compose Like a Girl podcast has officially launched. Listen as I interview celebrated composers Sarah Kirkland Snyder, Chen Yi, Dale Trombor, Angelica Negron, Rina Esmail, and more. I'm also hard at work on the next batch of scores in the Compose Like a Girl choral series, distributed by Graphite Publishing. You can help me bring these new pieces to life. I'm always seeking choral ambassadors to perform these new works by emerging composers. If you're interested, please reach out to me, Jocelyn Hagan, via my website, jocelynhagan.com, or social media. I look forward to hearing from you.
And we're back.
So, Jonathan, you are a music major and talented in a variety of ways. We were wondering if you could talk a little bit about your experience as a music major and offer some advice to maybe current high school students or middle school students who are thinking about majoring in music in the future.
Well, I'm sure as like both former music majors, you understand that it is already just very, very busy. Ton of different classes that you have to take and ton of different requirements you have to meet. So music ed definitely has been challenging in just the staying busy, having to stay on top of everything. But at the same time, it's really taught me like how to manage my time correctly, because I just have to, or I will fail all my classes. So I really have to just keep everything going, keep everything moving. But in terms of like work as a musician, right now I sing at a church nearby, right by CNU, and so I'm like a section leader, and so I just go every Sunday, sing at the church service, sing at the rehearsal, and so that's a nice way to get a little bit of income. And it's, I always kind of thought it was like a little cliche when people said it when I was younger, but it really just does not feel like work at all, because I just like go and I sing, and that's what I do every day anyways. So it's totally fine. In terms of like composition, I'm not actually taking any composition classes or anything, but I just really enjoy doing it. That's something that definitely started when I was was kind of blossomed during music tech years at Colgan with Mr. Mills, like I said earlier. But just kind of having like a way to create and spread the music that I really love, obviously, because if I'm making it, I really like it. I really wish I could compose more during the year. Unfortunately, I'm just so busy at school that is something that sort of falls through the cracks, because like I'm practicing for a piano recital and I've got all this other stuff. I have to do homework for some reason. And so unfortunately, the kind of like creative, expressive side can fall behind a little bit, but I still do really love to just like sit down in my room, after a long day or whatever, play a little something on the piano, maybe I like it. Maybe I like workshop that a little bit, write something down. And so I think composition is definitely just like a hobby that I really love and really want to like grow and nourish over the coming years.
I love that, Jonathan. I think you spoke to the challenges of being a music ed major. That is something that you mentioned, Kira and I know well. And also for our listeners out there, we have a lot of listeners in the age bracket of 18 through 25. So a lot of people who are still in school or starting school or thinking about going back to school. And I think that taking breaks, academic breaks, whether it's summer or wintertime, to recharge and let those creative juices start flowing again. For me, that's always the revival and instigator for how I can go into a next semester and do my best work, which I also think is healthy for us to remember that those little creative sparks really impact and can guide us. And I'm trying to do better in my own life of finding moments where I can seize those, the creative instincts, because like you said, I think they're so important. So thanks for all of that and for really thinking through some of the things that are going on in your life. So you mentioned the challenge of being a music major, and you talked about a little bit of like it's made you think about time management in a different way. And so there are a lot of people listening to the podcast that are considering going into music education and might be on the fence about it. And so we were wondering, as our closing like bulk question, what piece of advice would you have for other young musicians hoping to pursue music as a career? What would you tell them?
My first and foremost piece of advice that I say to all even current music majors is that you have to practice, because a lot of people just they don't love to practice consistently, but it really, really helps. Like regardless of all the classes you're taking and everything you're doing, I think, at least in my case for piano specifically, because it takes so much dedicated time alone in the practice room, that's where I've seen the most growth, is like when I have a consistent practice schedule. And it just feels really good to know that at any given point I'm at the peak of my like technical ability on this instrument, or for singing. It's really nice to know that like I'm putting in the work and that I could look back a year or two previously and see how much I've grown. And in terms of being like a student, you just have to accept that you're going to be very busy. But honestly, it's been really nice for me because at least in my specific case, coming off of a senior year that was online and during COVID, where I truly just wasn't doing anything. Like obviously I was going to class and doing what was required to me, but I didn't really feel productive or anything like that. So now that I have this super stacked, busy schedule, I don't have any choice but to be productive. And so it does feel nice. It's gratifying to see how much I am capable of and how much I can get done. It definitely is stressful at times, but because it's music specifically, like I really can't see myself doing anything else. And I think that's a pretty common view shared by quite a few people who are studying music, is that even though it's very demanding and very busy, it's like, this is what I want to do. So I'm going to power through. But yeah, so be dedicated, manage time, and practice. That's my advice.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that, Jonathan. We are incredibly proud of you and know that it takes so much determination and skill to do all of the things that you just described. And I'm sure that everything you just shared is going to be immensely helpful for future music students. And we thank you for everything you just said.
And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Pavon Publishing is proud to feature outstanding women composers and conductors.
Composer Judith Harrington has created a prolific choral series for youth and treble choirs that includes Fireflies from Japan and Duérmete mi corazón from Brazil.
Shirley McRae has many outstanding arrangements for young choirs, including popular songs like Black Sheep, and Sakura.
Conductor Iris Levine maintains a treble chorus series of medium to advanced works with text by poets from Teasdale to Yeats.
Other composers and authors in the Pavon family circle include Zenaida Stewart-Robles, Catherine Rundis, and Martha Wall. Explore all of these fantastic composers at Pavon Publishing.
Hey everyone, Gloria here from Call Time Clothing, back again to remind you to check out our newest special edition items from our collaboration with Conductor. Grab a super soft tee for yourself, a family member, teacher, or maybe all of the above. We've truly got something for everyone. Head over to Call Time Clothing today.
And we're back. So we close all of our episodes by asking the Fast Five. So these are supposed to be fast. Some people are faster than others. So we'll just see where you land, and wherever you are is totally cool. So first question of our Fast Five is, what is your favorite current choral octavo or composer recommendation?
I really like, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Rosephine Powell. I think that's right. We recently sang To Sit and Dream by her last semester in University Chorale. That was a really, really cool piece. So that kind of made me look up a couple other compositions of hers. I think I also sang another piece or two by her either at Colgan or in honor choirs throughout high school. And so I think it's got a cool blend of like a lot of different modern American styles.
Persephone Powell is so amazing.
Our second question in the Fast Five is, what is one misconception about you?
Misconception about me? I don't know. I think I might come off as like very timid or maybe quiet to people that I don't really know. And that's not that much of a misconception because I'm not really the most like outgoing, outspoken person. But I think that maybe I come off as a little more timid.
Yeah, I was going to say, just wait till you get to know him. It's not true. So then let's go to our third question. So Jonathan, what is one word, and you might not know it yet, but maybe you can manifest it. What is one word to describe you as a teacher, conductor, composer, basically as a musician? Like, what is one word that you would choose?
Maybe like natural, because I feel like when I compose or play music or anything, it's kind of just like, I kind of just try to go with whatever is coming up. And even though I do overthink things a lot, I try to avoid doing that. And so I definitely want to have just like a natural, like friendly, but also still professional, like relationship with my students. And I want them to be understanding music in a very just organic natural way.
That's such a good word. I love that. I hope you keep that forever and can always say that you are natural as a musician, Jonathan. That's amazing. All right, number 4. This may have been one you already shared, but maybe there's another. What is a favorite choral memory?
Actually, okay, I'll talk about a chamber choir at CNU. The spring semester of my freshman year, it was an 8-person chamber choir. So it was very small, and that was a really, really cool experience to have because it's just everyone's singing. We sang 8-part divisi, so everyone's singing their own part. But we put on a concert in the spring that was, I think, titled like Under the Stars or something like that. And I don't know if I could name all the works that were on it, but it was just a very musically gratifying experience. I felt like it was some of the highest quality music I had ever performed, solo or ensemble, and it was awesome to like have gone through that entire process of sight reading to performance with this really tight-knit group of 8 people.
I think that might have been the concert that I live streamed into. I watched something that year in CNU, and you had said like there's only 8 of us on the part, and I thought that was such a cool way to approach the COVID challenge. So it was really, really impactful as a music educator to get to see that as well, because it was taking lemons and making lemonade out of a situation where maybe you couldn't have 16, but you could have 8, and you could really stretch those 8 students to do some top-notch music, and also just to challenge each person as their own musician. So I thought that was a really cool initiative. And then finally, Jonathan, can you think of a choral blooper? So maybe something that went wrong when you were teaching or when you were in choir that you would be willing to share?
Let's see. During the dress rehearsal for a holiday performance we had at CNU recently, we were singing this Latin piece that had like a drum involved, and like luckily this happened at the dress rehearsal and not at the actual performance, but we had like all this choreography where some people went like from the audience, including the person with the drum, went from the audience like kind of back up through the side of the stage and then out on stage, and there was just quite a big mishap with that transport, and there was a drum on the ground and might have been like a person on the ground and some pretty loud bangs. So it's typically like a very stressful and uptight atmosphere. So just having a little comedic relief was honestly pretty nice.
Oh, Jonathan, we appreciate you. McKenna and I have both been part of those stressful holiday concerts, and we need that comic relief moment. Oh, that's amazing. I was going to say, if you couldn't think of one, you could have shared a Miss Stenson blooper for our audience out there.
There's too many to count, really. Oh, man. Well, Jonathan, this has just been really special to get to catch up in this way, and really excited and grateful that you submitted to the composer contest. And we think that the groove that you came up with really suits our 3rd season. And so we appreciate your creativity and look forward to everyone getting to hear a little bit of your musical fingerprint over the course of our season. And for those out there who haven't seen Conductor, we are there. We're on social media. Please check us out. We are at conduct.her.pod on Instagram, conduct.her on Facebook, and check out our website, www.conducther.com, where you can find more opportunities like the Composer Contest to lift up your voice and to help amplify women's and women ally voices. So thanks so much. Thank you for listening. This has been Conduct Her.
This episode was engineered and mixed by Mary Hannah Klontz, with intro and outro music by Jonathan Martin and ad music by Kate Krellin.
Discover more resources at conducther.com.